Trader. This is your market wrap for January 29th, 2019. Qs are down 0.9%. We got about half an hour to go. SPY basically break even, 0.1% there. We opened pretty much flat on the Qs and SPY. Got sold in the morning, and then the SPYs made a better recovery here. But both SPY pretty flat. Qs are going to be down almost 1%. Okay. Let's just recap what we were looking at here coming into today. We got that gap down yesterday. Market got bought, closed up near the highs, right? We are looking for underneath this bottoming tail, and we can look to resume a bearish bias, but we're still neutral for now. We do have this double top, but we also have this double bottom here to the left. We're really in a base. I don't want to read too much into just these candles here and these candles here, right? Underneath this low here, 160.30 there on the Qs, and on the SPY we're looking at 260.60. Okay, we can start to look for lower price. It's going to be into another base, but that's where we can start the bearish buys. We'll have a couple attempts to break out, and they will both have failed. So that will be kind of the basis for the more aggressive entry or more aggressive bearish bias here. But for now, we're still stuck sideways, stuck in this base. And so we'll see what we get tomorrow, okay? And the focus really is not on the market for me. As long as things are reporting, that's what I'm going to be focused on. And that's why I also think the bias on the Qs is going to not be that strong, because from day to day, especially the large cap names can move the market. So it does seem like the market's in a bit of wait and see. We also have FOMC meeting is underway, and we'll get minutes tomorrow. So yeah, there's kind of a lot of things I think the market is waiting for. You know, on down days, you're going to hear a lot more about, oh, trade relations are in question, the economy's in question, the effect of the shutdown is now, you know, like, it's just the way that the media finds ways to explain what's going on. I don't think today is really all that significant. I don't think any of the concerns that are being voiced today are any different from Friday or yesterday. So, and from the chart here, there's nothing really that's changed. It's just a way to explain why the market is down as opposed to up, okay? You know, if it was up, then, you know, on a day like today, then it would be people aren't as concerned about the trade relations, aren't as concerned about the economy. So, you know, it's all kind of like retrofitted to make sense with the price action here. But I just want to make it clear, we're still in this sideways base, okay? So we've been going sideways. If we can break through the base, there will be more support below, but that's about as early as you can start the bearish bias, and then that would be in line with this weekly sell setup. This is the picture of power that I'm looking for the bearish bias. It's the daily and the hourly are all pretty sloppy. Okay, this is the one that's the cleanest. So this is the one that I think gives the bearish bias merit. Okay. All right. So tomorrow will still be neutral. We'll see if we break the base and we can start a bearish bias. So we'll see if we continue some weakness tomorrow. That would be what we're looking for. Okay. Only one call for me today, and that was the ZYNE on a 2-minute pullback. Okay. Let's go over the daily here first. I like the daily here, breaking the downtrend, gapping over a pivot here. Okay, so right at the open, I wanted to play this long. Okay, you could have played this breakout here. I thought it was a little bit too thin in the morning. I was a little worried about spread to give it to the room, to call it for the room, right? I want to make sure if I'm going to call something, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I mean, much less myself, right, on something that's too thin to play. Okay, so then it came in and gave us a buy setup. And so that was the call. The buy setup, ZYNE long, 470 by 460, okay? So if it breaks over 470, so you probably got it 471 or 472. If it breaks over 470, you're in. I put it in the room also. If you're not in, you can get it over 472. That would just make it a 12-cent stop as opposed to a 10-cent stop. Okay, and the initial targets were just a new high, right? and then 5, and then once we got moving here, updated it to $5 and end of day. However, this did go to 570, so it went a dollar. So I mean, all like 10 R's depending on where you got filled. I'm not gonna be willing to hold this till end of day when something goes like this. This is called climactic. If you're not familiar, if something goes climactic, which is multiple bars of the same color, extends away from the 20 MA, puts in the widest bar at the top and increased volume, it's probably topping out. I know some people played it short. It was hard to borrow for some of us, so we weren't able to play it short, but it was played long, okay, on the ZYNE for a nice play. I think this was the nicest play I've called for the room this month. And so we got that new high, took another piece as it broke $5, and then I said to trail to 1 minute bar by bar because it seemed like the 1 minute was going to hold, because the 1 minute had been holding. So notice we were in here and we were going, right? And the 1 minute seemed to be holding, behaving well, and I just wanted to see if we could get it, stay in it as long as we could, and then it trailed out right there. And then right back up. So that was a little bit disappointing. You know, I'm glad it worked. Glad it was a decent winner. Just felt like, you know, if we had used any other trail, like the 2 minute here, we would have been able to stay in the 5 minute. So, you know, the other thing is we used a 10-cent stop. It was a little bit jumpy, and I was worried that we would give too much back if we used a bigger trail, but it just turns out that the 1 minute trail was the only one that trailed before it put in the top. So, you know, that's just one of the challenges of management. It's tough. I mean, as you guys saw yesterday on the COMM, that actually took out the stop and then ran up to make a new high. You know, it's just, you know, that's just trading for you. So it's okay, though. I'm glad we were able to play this. I'm glad it worked out well. I'm glad that's what we focused on today. Sammy also had a call on the GLW that worked out well. I can show you this pattern here. On the GLW that they played in the morning, on the GLW, which was on a pullback. Yeah, so here it is on the GLW. Okay, ran up initially, got a pullback, and then put in this break here, and then a 1, 2, 3, and then they rode that up to the highs, I think, and then are replaying it here in the afternoon for a long. You know, we've seen a lot of these gap bullies, gap berries, but especially the gap bullies have been very, very strong. You know, I had multiple people, you know, looking to short this here as it made new highs. And so if you look at that picture of the ZYNE, right, acceleration, biggest bar at the top, right, retracement back to the 20 MA as your target. And then you look at this WHR. This WHR is grinding. It's in a power trend. So I said it just, I mean, I see the volume here, but I just doesn't look good to me. I mean, those were my words. It just doesn't look good to me for a short. So I think some people kind of backed off of this because, you know, while you look at the daily chart, you're thinking this should come in, such a big green bar, right? It's just not a good looking, it's not climactic. That's the problem. It's just not climactic. It's up a lot, but it's not climactic. Here's another. This was a gap bully on the PFE. Not as good because this is going against the recent trend. I much prefer when they're going in the direction of the recent trend because as you run up, you're going to run into some resistance. That's going to cut your targets short. So, but they've been working out pretty well. The gap bullies, so just continue to be on the lookout for them. I'd like to get involved in some, but you know, I thought today just the ZYNE, I like the gap a lot. We had a lot of gap ups that looked a little bit on the novice side, but worked out just fine. So, but this is the one I went after. It was the only call was the ZYNE. Okay, it could have been managed a little bit better. I don't think we captured as much as I would have liked, but. You know, just so happened that I picked the trail, 1 minute trail, and it did trail. So, yeah, so as we continue on, we still have 3 more days this week. We are in the midst of earnings season. We're right in the kind of beginning of it, right in the cusp. So, you know, that's what you want to focus on. We're focusing on the gaps, right? That's what the GLW, the ZYNE, the WHR, the PFE, all are going to be the gaps. So that's the strategy we're focusing on the most, because those are where the opportunities are. Okay, so otherwise, I thought this afternoon was pretty quiet, but the morning was pretty busy. There's kind of a lot to look at, and I didn't get to play everything that I would have liked to have played. So, but I'm glad we got this one. I think this one probably worked the best. So pick the right one at least. Okay. All right, so hopefully you're doing well. If you're taking it easy, if you're new to the strategic day trader room, we do have a lot of new members. Then I think that's totally fine. If you're taking it easy, hopefully you can kind of pick it up as we go and participate in some of the plays that are being called. We're calling them ahead of time. We're giving you the numbers, right? Something stops out, you know what your risk is, right? We're not the type of room to say, oh, look at this, I gave you the entry, and then look how far it went, we all got out at $5.70, or to say, here's a play, and then if it doesn't work, you never hear from me again, you never hear about this symbol again from me, and I just pretend like it never happened, right? Every play, just like yesterday, the COMM stopped out, works, doesn't work, right? We go over it, we try to take away as much experience as we can, because we're always trying to make improvements, right? And so whether it's a stop out or a play that works for multiple R's, right, we might make sure that we're extracting the most that we can out of it. Okay, so that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Stay focused, make sure you get lots of rest, because the mornings are fast and furious. Okay, so I expect tomorrow to be the same. Okay, so if you're not ready, you're going to put yourself in a position where you feel like you might have missed some stuff. I even feel like I missed some stuff. And that is going to be part of earnings season, just what happens day in and day out. But you want to do the best that you can, okay? Put yourself in a position to really kind of maximize your potential, okay? So that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Just a recap, not much going on in the Qs and SPY, okay? We'll see if the market brings us something different tomorrow. Just the same thing. If we gap up, I expect to get sold. If we gap down, we'll probably get bought, because we're at a neutral bias. Okay, so hope everyone has a great evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.